folks, Jim here from FX Charts. It's Wednesday the 13th of March. Well, the day was really all about Brexit again and sterling. Sterling rose quite sharply, as I'm sure you're all aware, ahead of the vote, when Theresa May announced that she'd made a bit of a breakthrough with the EU commissioners. That was quickly put back in its box by the Attorney General, the UK Attorney General, who said nothing had really changed. Sterling was then pretty heavy really for the rest of the session and came back down to where it started. It was a very volatile day, both against the dollar and on the crosses. And right now we're sitting near the lows, as you can see from the chart here. This is a 4-hour sterling chart. We're still above 130, and now we await a vote this evening, tomorrow morning, early Asia time. And that vote will decide. It's a free vote for MPs, so they're not constrained by parties, and that's to vote whether to leave the EU on a no-deal basis, or that looks like being defeated. But if it does pass through, we can see quite a substantial move lower in sterling. I heard one commentator suggest a 10% move down. That's the less likely scenario though, and the more likely deal is that they'll vote against that, and then the vote the next day will go towards whether the Article 50 should be extended out beyond the March the 29th cut-off date, which we're currently looking towards. If we do see that, I think actually sterling will, once the vote tomorrow is decided, assuming they vote against a no-deal option, I think sterling might have a bit of a relief rally, albeit quite short-lived. But we could see a move back up to the sort of 132 highs, and possibly higher. But at the moment, you'd have to say things are looking pretty ugly. We're holding on to support here at the moment, just below or around 130. But if that breaks, then we could see quite a move lower. All in all, it's probably best to stay out of sterling until the vote is known. It'll be pretty quiet until then, I think. Nobody really wants to get involved. But once the vote, as soon as the vote is announced, about 6:30 tomorrow morning, Australian time, Australian Eastern time, that is. Then it'll boot off again, and depending on the outcome of the vote, that'll provide the direction. Elsewhere, the euro looks like it's made a false break on the downside last week after the ECB meeting. We're now back up here near 113. As you can see, we're back into this area here of choppy trade. I still prefer to be long dollars and short the euro, but it's a question of picking levels, and we could easily see ourselves back up at this FIBO level, which is 113.25, and possibly up towards the sort of more serious trend line up here, so 113.70.80. I very much doubt we're going above 114 at the moment, but that remains to be seen. Elsewhere, the other point of interest is the Aussie consumer confidence data just come out, and it was pretty appalling. It was minus 0.4 against, I think, the expected plus 0.4. Sorry, the prime max of plus 4.3. Now, interestingly, the Aussie is looking pretty heavy on the hourly charts, and as I said yesterday, I couldn't get over enthused about buying it there, but it's just breaking below the 55-hour moving average, heading down here, sort of 45, 50, perhaps the 100-hour. If we get below there, then maybe we're seeing another extension lower. The 4-hourly charts not really giving us much momentum direction at this point in time, and I think the Aussie will probably just chop around, as with everything else, waiting for the Brexit vote later on today. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. That's the more interesting stuff today. The stocks were choppy, commodities were choppy without doing much. So once again, it's all eyes on cable, possibly looking to sell a little bit of Aussie, but I wouldn't get overly enthusiastic. That's about it for today. Talk to you tomorrow. Cheers.